everybody, welcome back. We're looking at some insane rich person behavior stories that prove rich people are a little out of touch.
What's the most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced?
I am so glad that you asked. During the summer going into my sophomore year of college, I was struggling for money. I was working an unpaid internship Monday through Friday, so I was broke. One day that summer, a family friend asked if I wanted to take on a catering job. She said it paid well, I just had to serve food and drinks, like what could go wrong? I didn't get much explanation after that, except that I needed to send her a headshot because the host of the party was the CEO of a hedge fund and wanted all of the servers to be good looking. I got accepted and then drove to a beach in the Hamptons looking like this, where I had to set up table settings that looked like this on a beach in 100-degree weather. I had to set this shit up in my work uniform because the host didn't want poorly dressed people setting up her shit. I sweat through everything I was wearing, and then had to serve these people. I walked around this exact party trying to serve people food, but they were all on diets. 12 hours later, no one said thank you, and the pay was shit.
So wait, you did all of that and no one actually ate anything? Yeah, sounds about right, yeah. Oh, food is for peasants. We're rich, we don't get hungry.
One of my clients, I used to work at a bank. When I was going through my divorce, I was going through all this, I was depressed, they could feel there was something going on. So my client had many accounts, she had many accounts at the bank, and she said, what's going on? And I said, oh, no, I'm going through stuff, I'm going through a divorce, this and that. She said, oh, let's go out and eat, and we'll talk about it. We went out to eat, and she said, how much? I was like, how much what? She said, how much do you owe? At that point, I owe a little bit over $12,000 in cars, bills, credit cards that he left me. And I had 2 kids. And I needed to find a place. She said, you want a cash or check? She barely knew me. She was just the client. She just wanted me to be okay. Which I ended up getting as a loan and paid it in 2 years.
All right, I'm glad this won't be just a strict rich person bashing video. As fun as that is, let's not ignore the fact that rich people can be nice too. Imagine just being so rich that you could just like give $12,000 in cash to someone that you barely know and like barely even bat an eyelash. Bat an eye. Eyelashes don't bat, Charlotte. Or do they? Overhearing rich people's conversations always cracks me up. The things they casually do in their social lives truly remind you how broke you really are. A caregiving client confiding in me about teaching her college-age grandson to dress well and how you can't just find a good men's shirt for under $300. Me nodding my head realizing the same woman was paying me $15 an hour to wipe her ass. I mean, you can really tell where her priorities lie. Maybe she doesn't think you wiping her butt is worth a lot of money. Sweetheart, I would pay you at least $300 an hour to wipe my butt. I was a car valet at a 5-star in Miami. This guy asked me to fetch his wallet from his Porsche. I jogged about 30 feet, grabbed it, and came back. He opened it and gave me $50. I cannot fathom having pockets so deep that I give someone $50 in order to skip a short walk. Oh, you don't do that? Oh, it's great. You save so much time this way. You know, they say that money can't buy happiness, but I think it does buy you freedom. I worked for this rich family during the pandemic and overheard the mom on the phone complaining that she only brought in $80,000 that month and had to unsubscribe to her weekly wine, caviar, and cheese deliveries.
Lol.
Oh yeah, that's you can't do without that. I feel like that's more of like a, I don't know if I could skip out on wine, cheese, and caviar every week. I feel like I would rather skip the spa that week or something, you know? Maybe not get my nails done, or would I? I don't know. Oh, that's a tough question. It's just funny listening to like rich people problems because like they actually believe that these problems are problems, but they are problems relatively to them.
So if this doesn't go viral, I'm deleting this because I'm totally exposing myself. But anyway, my best friend and I backpacked France the summer of our senior year. and we were on a bar crawl, and I saw this guy like sitting in the corner, looked like Harry Potter, and I was like, oh, okay. So I go talk to him. Anyway, I don't really think much of it. We get each other's Snapchats. The next day, we're at this really big fancy club called High Club, and I see him in the VIP section, and I'm like, that's freaking Christopher. So I Snapchat him. Anyway, I end up going home with this guy. I thought maybe he had just had rich friends. I don't know. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was cute. We go up this mountain. I think I'm getting kidnapped, but he owns a mansion on top of like the mountain overlooking all of France. And he presses his button and all of the shades go up. And I'm like, this is amazing. And he was like, yeah, it's just one of our like townhomes. We have them all over Europe.
Oh yeah, that's just like my summer house. I didn't really think much of it. I didn't really come here much. I come here to take a shit. Says the girl that has a bathroom that she prefers to take. It's just because the rest of the house is gonna smell if I don't do it in there. I'm just trying to be polite to everyone else that comes over. And this is your reminder that being rich ain't all it cracked up to be. But mostly you should subscribe. Just saying. One time in college at UM, we were talking about mental health and it got heavy. Later, one of the Arab boys pulls me to the side and was so serious. It was the first time he wanted to open up about his depression, because he only had one Rolex when everyone else had more. Oh, I'm so sad for you. I'm so sad for you and your one Rolex. Damn. You need to see a therapist about that. Honestly, that is way too much of an issue for someone that isn't a professional to handle. I don't even know how to speak to you about that. One time, I was a caregiver for this rich white lady. She lived by the beach, and I asked if she ever owned a boat. She was so offended by my question because she didn't own boats. She owned
yachts.
Actually, it's a yacht. What do you think this is? Who do you think I am? Boat? Ugh. I am so sorry to have offended you. Old rich white lady on the beach. Yeah. I dated a guy who had a place at Ocean Reef, super exclusive, extremely wealthy community in Upper Florida Keys. We sat with 5 other couples going back and forth about whose mega yacht we should take out that evening.
Bob and Cindy's is the closest to the canal, but Jim and Donna's is bigger. But Mark and Tina's jacuzzi is already heated. But Dale and Ira's has a full staff tonight.
Well, to be honest, I would go with the jacuzzi, you know what I'm saying? If we're gonna be picky about it, let's just go with the jacuzzi.
I always hate waiting for them to warm up.
Do rich people know how funny they are?
My house was so big, I had to tell my dad dinner was ready by using the phone intercom system. And all of those dinners were 3-course meals prepared by a private chef. We had at least 7 employees in the house at all times, including security guards, and my mom always was terrified that there would be an inside job and I would be kidnapped. When my parents got divorced, I had to live in 4 houses at the same time, and somehow I would get in trouble because I couldn't keep track of all my underwear. One time we took a 30-minute commercial flight from Boston to Nantucket, and my dad hated the commercial flying experience so much, despite the fact that state police officers helped us through it. He had the private plane meet us in Nantucket to bring us back to Boston. I never had to go to the grocery store as a kid. There would be a pad of paper in the kitchen. If I wrote something down, it would disappear the next day. My parents' divorce made the news, calling my mom a gold digger, and the comments were full of men counting down the years until I turned 18. I wasn't allowed to put my last name on social media because people would track me down and kidnap me.
Bruh, that was a lot. There was a lot to unpack there. But perhaps the thing that resonated with me the most was how rich people feel about flying coach or economy. This one time, you probably saw this on Twitter back when it happened, but I was in an airport lounge trying to nap, and the only other woman in the area where you nap was on the phone on FaceTime with her husband, really upset because this was during COVID and it was really hard to get home. Lots of flights were getting canceled, and she was sitting there on the phone screaming at her husband and swearing at him because they had the audacity to put her in coach, in economy, with everyone else. This had actually ruined her vacation. And I was just sitting there this person actually believes that this is a big problem. Like a big enough problem to call her husband and scream at him about. And swear like a dirty sailor in front of her 4-year-old daughter. And the best part was the daughter was so polite. She was like, well, Mom, why don't we just drive back? It's not a big deal. Like, she was just trying to be so chill about it. And the mom was not having it. She was not about to be packed in a plane with a bunch of peasants. Ugh.
What's the most insane actual rich person behavior that you've experienced? Because mine is when I heard the mom of this family say, oh, I absolutely hate vomit. When my kids threw up on their bed or on their mattress, I just threw out the mattress and bought a whole new one. What?
Yeah. Speaking as someone who cannot smell other people's vomit without vomiting, if I was rich enough, I would probably do that too. Why suffer through someone else's vomit? But also, kids puke a lot.
So a few years ago, my mom's best friend married a billionaire, and it went really well for their first year of marriage. And one day they were on his private plane, and she made a joke about how she was never flying coach again, and a switch flipped in his brain that all of a sudden he saw her as a gold digger. He kicked her out of their 12-bedroom mansion and made her live in the apartment above the garage, forbade her from going to any of his other houses, sold her car, and wouldn't let her go anywhere. He dropped her monthly budget from $25,000 to just under $1,000. And he had his staff take the overhead light from the driveway and shine it directly into the skylight in her bedroom so she couldn't sleep every night. She lasted for a year with all of this so the prenup would kick in.
I'm sorry, as a billionaire, shouldn't you that's kind of like, you should assume that people are going to get used to a certain lifestyle when they're with you. And also, you have so much money that you should be okay with sharing it with your spouse. That's kind of like what you sign up for when you get married. You don't just have a little concubine and it's marriage, not concubinism. My parents also have a friend like this who's like a pretty wealthy man, and he will fly business class while he makes his spouse sit in coach. Did I just admit that I'm a gold digger? Just kidding, guys. Everyone else is digging for gold from me. I'm okay with being a sugar mama though, like I am. Mommy, I am a rich man. Not yet, but maybe one day.
I really gotta say this because I'm gonna expose my weird and rich friends. And I'm also gonna expose myself. They're paying me for my time. Well, at least that's my thinking, but you know, guys, every time we hang out, and then of course they're gonna pay for everything, like the dinner and the drinks. But when it's time to go home, they're gonna give me some pamasahe. Wow, pamasahe. But that pamasahe is way, way beyond pamasahe, because pamasahe is just like 100 to maybe 300 pesos. But then they're gonna give me like case, you know? Ganyan na ba talaga ako kapobre? And imagine being friends with them for almost like 5 years.
They just like pay you to hang out with them? Ick. I am not mad about this. I will allow it.
Okay, here it goes. I'm in no longer contact with this person, but I know her that she's very wealthy. She's from the high class family, so here it goes. When we hang out, maybe at a cafe or malls or restaurant, we usually see strangers walk us by, right? Like, you know, it's a public space. So if she saw someone that used something that expensive, for example, like a Gucci bag, an outfit from maybe like Prada, and shoes of Converse that is very expensive, or Nike or Air Jordan, she would say this: oh my god, her face with that bag and outfit, ugh, it doesn't match. She looks poor. It doesn't match her. I bet she bought it on discount.
Rich people do judge your things. They do. They really do. I've also learned that rich people know what's a real bag and what's a fake bag. Learned that the hard way. They're like, she's an imposter. That stitch is just a little bit off. I just don't want to spend $2,000 on a bag.
So I used to work in Lovisa, the jewelry company, and there was this one customer that I attended to that still makes me go. This girl came in with two of her brothers, and they all held a basket each, and she started just taking things off the shelf and putting it in her basket, like, without even looking at the price tag. Now, your girl wanted to make her commission, so I went up to her and I was just like, hi, how are you doing? Can I help you out? And she was just like, yeah, I just want to know what's gonna look cute on me. Can you just show me around? And I was like, okay, sure. So I went around the store grabbing some full price and promotional items for her, and then I went back and I was like, hey, this is what I think will look really nice on you. And she went, yeah, great, just put everything in the basket without even looking at it. She spent over $3,000 in one receipt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that, like, not normal? You guys don't do that? All right, those are some insane rich person behavior stories. God, I want to be rich. Subscribe!